Catch Election 2024. The only guide to its complexities. The U.S. presidential election is a complex and fascinating process that captivates the nation and the world every 4 years. At the heart of this process lies the Electoral College, a system designed by the Founding Fathers to balance the interests of large and small states. As the 2024 election approaches, political enthusiasts, strategists, and voters alike are analyzing the distribution of electoral votes and the political climate in each state. This article aims to provide a comprehensive overview of the Electoral College, the number of electoral votes per state, the political leanings of each state, and the potential paths to victory for two prominent figures, Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. By understanding the intricacies of the Electoral College and the political landscape, we can gain insight into the potential outcomes of the 2024 presidential election. The Electoral College, understanding its role in U.S. presidential elections. What is the Electoral College? The Electoral College is a unique and complex system used in the United States to elect the president and vice president. It is composed of 538 electors who cast votes on behalf of their respective states. Each state is allocated a certain number of electoral votes based on its representation in Congress, the number of senators always 2 per state plus the number of representatives which varies based on population. The District of Columbia is allocated 3 electoral votes, bringing the total to 538. How does the Electoral College work? Election Day. On the first Tuesday after the first Monday in November, voters in each state cast their ballots for the president and vice president. Electoral votes. The candidate who wins the popular vote in a state typically receives all of that state's electoral votes with the exceptions of Maine and Nebraska, which allocate some electoral votes by congressional district. Electoral College meeting. In December, the electors from each state meet in their respective state capitals to cast their votes for president and vice president. Certification. The votes are then sent to the President of the Senate, who opens and counts them in a joint session of Congress in early January. Winning the presidency. To win the presidency, a candidate must secure at least 270 electoral votes out of the total 538. Keywords about the Electoral College. Electors, the individuals who cast votes on behalf of their states. Electoral votes, the votes cast by electors to determine the president and vice president. Popular vote, the total number of votes cast by the general public for each candidate. Swing states, states that do not have a strong allegiance to either major party and could be won by either candidate. Red states, states that generally lean Republican in presidential elections. Blue states, states that generally lean Democratic in presidential elections. 270, the minimum number of electoral votes needed to win the presidency. Congressional district, a geographical area represented by a member of the U.S. House of Representatives. Joint session of Congress, the meeting where the electoral votes are counted and certified. Indirect election, the process by which the president is elected through the Electoral College rather than by direct popular vote. The Electoral College is a fundamental component of the U.S. presidential election process. While it can be complex and sometimes controversial, understanding its mechanics and the distribution of electoral votes is essential for grasping the dynamics of presidential elections. The system aims to balance the interests of large and small states, ensuring that the president is elected through a process that reflects both the popular will and the federal structure of the United States. Understanding electoral votes in the U.S. presidential election. What are electoral votes? Electoral votes are the votes cast by members of the Electoral College to elect the President and Vice President of the United States. Each state is allocated a certain number of electoral votes based on its representation in Congress, the number of senators always 2 per state plus the number of representatives which varies based on population. Why do states have different numbers of electoral votes? The number of electoral votes per state is determined by the state's population as reflected in the U.S. Census. More populous states have more electoral votes because they have more representatives in the House of Representatives. This system ensures that states with larger populations have a proportionally greater influence in the election. Why is the presidential election an indirect election? The U.S. presidential election is an indirect election because the Founding Fathers designed the Electoral College to act as an intermediary between the voters and the selection of the president. This system was intended to balance the interests of large and small states and to provide a check on direct democracy. Key questions and answers. What is the minimum number of electoral votes needed to become president? To win the presidency, a candidate must secure at least 270 electoral votes out of the total 538. What is the minimum number of states needed to become president? Theoretically, a candidate could win the presidency by winning as few as 11 states, provided those states have enough electoral votes to reach the 270 threshold. However, this is highly unlikely in practice due to the distribution of electoral votes. Which are the states of Trump, J.D. Vance, Kamala Harris, Tim Walz? Donald Trump, Florida 30 electoral votes, swing state. J.D. Vance, Ohio 18 electoral votes, swing state. Kamala Harris, California 55 electoral votes, Democratic state. Tim Walz, Minnesota 10 electoral votes, swing state. Here is the list of each state's number of electoral votes for the 2024 presidential election, along with an indication of whether the state is generally considered Republican, Democratic, or a swing state based on recent election trends. Alabama, 9 Republican. Alaska, 3 Republican. Arizona, 11 swing. Arkansas, 6 Republican. California, 55 Democratic. Colorado, 9 Democratic. Connecticut, 7 Democratic. Delaware, 3 Democratic. District of Columbia, 3 Democratic. Florida, 30 swing. Georgia, 16 swing. Hawaii, 4 Democratic. Idaho, 4 Republican. Illinois, 20 Democratic. Indiana, 11 Republican. Iowa, 6 swing. Kansas, 6 Republican. Kentucky, 8 Republican. Louisiana, 8 Republican. Maine, 4 swing. Maryland, 10 Democratic. Massachusetts, 11 Democratic. Michigan, 16 swing. Minnesota, 10 swing. Mississippi, 6 Republican. Missouri, 10 Republican. Montana, 4 Republican. Nebraska, 5 Republican. Nevada, 6 swing. New Hampshire, 4 swing. New Jersey, 14 Democratic. New Mexico, 5 Democratic. New York, 29 Democratic. North Carolina, 15 swing. North Dakota, 3 Republican. Ohio, 18 swing. Oklahoma, 7 Republican. Oregon, 7 Democratic. Pennsylvania, 20 swing. Rhode Island, 4 Democratic. South Carolina, 9 Republican. South Dakota, 3 Republican. Tennessee, 11 Republican. Texas, 40 swing. Utah, 6 Republican. Vermont, 3 Democratic. Virginia, 13 swing. Washington, 12 Democratic. West Virginia, 5 Republican. Wisconsin, 10 swing. Wyoming, 3 Republican. These designations are based on recent voting trends and may change over time. Swing states are those that have been closely contested in recent presidential elections and could potentially be won by either major party. Rust Belt states. The Rust Belt is a region of the United States that includes states traditionally known for their manufacturing industries. These states are Illinois, Indiana, Michigan, Ohio, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. Sun Belt states. The Sun Belt is a region of the United States that includes states known for their warm climate and rapid population growth. These states are Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Florida, Georgia, Louisiana, Mississippi, Nevada, New Mexico, North Carolina, South Carolina, Tennessee, Texas. Number of swing states. Swing states are those that do not have a strong allegiance to either major party and could be won by either candidate in a presidential election. Based on recent trends, the number of swing states is approximately 13. Number of former presidents by party. Democratic presidents, 15. Republican presidents, 19. Subscribe to VoteBytes 24.
Like, share, and subscribe to VoteBytes 24 for non-stop info bites.